Are you angry?
Ooh, yeah.
Christine Bunch spent 17 years behind bars, accused of setting a fire that killed her son in 1995. She lost her reputation and her freedom.
You robbed me of that. It's gone.
Well, a court looked at new evidence, then reversed her conviction in 2012. She was finally set free. So how is the system repaying her? She says she's been kicked to the curb. Tonight, advocates are calling for change.
You don't really know at first what they're doing.
Christine Bunch has spent the last 4 years rebuilding her life in Chicago.
You don't know who to trust or where to turn.
She moved here shortly after she walked out of the Indiana prison system in 2012. This moment didn't come easy. Bunch spent 17 years, a time in her life when she could have been building a career and raising a family, trying to prove she wasn't a murderer.
It's a shame and a horror that you never get over. And even though I walked out, I'll never forget that you called me that you labeled me that.
Bunch was sentenced in 1996 to 60 years. The state convinced a jury that she set her trailer home on fire, killing her 3-year-old son, Tony. Jurors heard testimony from a fire expert that the fire started in 2 places and that an accelerant was found in both Tony's bedroom and the living room.
Not only did you send me into prison accused of the most horrific crime, but you left me to believe that there was some evidence there that was not there.
Northwestern Center for Wrongful Convictions took the case a decade later in 2006. They uncovered a document previously withheld that refuted the fire expert's testimony. Bunch's team says the document showed not only was there no accelerant in the child's bedroom, but they also argued the kerosene found in the living room was from a heater.
We do not have enough checks in place for our system. I feel like if somebody gets something in their head and all of a sudden they're on tunnel vision, somebody else needs to step in and say, well, have we looked at all the factors?
An appeals court decided if a jury had heard the new evidence, they probably wouldn't have convicted Bunch. The court overturned her conviction in 2012. Bunch was released 17 years, 1 month, and 16 days after she was arrested. One of the first things she did was visit her son's grave.
I wanted to wash it off, and I wanted to put the flowers out there that I wanted.
In a lot of these cases, there is a crime and they just get the wrong person. In this case, there was no crime.
Attorney John Stainthorpe is representing Bunch in a civil suit. To this day, he says she's received nothing from the system that locked her up, not a dime.
But how many years is it now since she's been out? So all of this time, she has not had the benefit of a compensation system that would get resources to people right when they get out of prison.
There was nothing the day I walked out. I came out with my prison uniform and my white tennis shoes and a bag, and I put on a dress that my mom had brought me.
Bunch is not alone, and advocates blame lawmakers.
They've really missed the boat on this. They need to come up with legislation that will compensate people who have been wrongfully convicted.
Roseanne Ivanovich represented Richard Alexander, a man who many in South Bend knew as the River Park rapist. He spent 5 years locked up before new DNA evidence exonerated him. And just like Bunch, he was sent into the real world with nothing, not even a toothbrush.
The agony they go through, being incarcerated, being wrongfully convicted for something they didn't do. For the legislators and for the state of Indiana, the people of the state of Indiana, to ignore that, it's truly, truly shameful.
Alexander's attorney in 2001 was hopeful about his client's future.
Just completely confident that he will land on his feet, will be successful in rebuilding his life after 5.5 years.
But Alexander found himself in trouble and wound up back in prison in 2007.
If there had been some kind of an award, a financial award for him, I think that would have helped him. If there had been the availability of counseling, it truly would have helped him.
I have to build the best life I can as quickly as I can because I'm 17 years behind.
Christine Bunch is working hard to make up for that lost time. She earned 2 degrees from Ball State University while in prison. She's been working a full-time job at Northwestern, bought her own place, and now she's moving back to Indiana to start Justice for Just Us. It'll be a nonprofit run by those who've been wrongly convicted to help others as they're being released. Help from a woman who says the system failed to help her.
There had to be nights where it was hard.
Oh, so many. And those nights I would cry myself to sleep, and the next day I would tell myself, you know, you had a night and you gave in to pity and you get back up and you do it again.
Now, I requested an interview with the Attorney General. He did not agree to sit down with Fox 28. Instead, his office released a statement saying Bunch's civil rights lawsuit is still pending. As far as whether Indiana needs a statute to compensate those who've been wrongly convicted, the AG's office says that is a question for lawmakers and the governor. Governor Pence hasn't taken us up on a request to talk about the subject either. For a list of states that do offer compensation, go right now to fox28.com.